So, this is why only Western-minded people oppose genocide. Not people in the West, because not everyone in the West has the same opinion, which is a very Western opinion to have, that not everyone within a group of people has the same opinion. But Western-minded people are the only people to oppose genocide. I have to go meditate after I make this video and do some other stuff, but it's very important to make this video. So I've talked about Orientalism on my channel and how Orientalism is the belief that if an idea is going to happen, the idea is going to happen either way, and that it really doesn't depend on the individual, that there's nothing new under the sun, that what matters more is systems, adherence to systems, loyalty to systems, the ability to operate within a system and not the ability to operate as an individual, because that's just simply kind of how people have self-organized. People who were more individualistic went west. People who were less individualistic went east. Whether they went east or west first, I don't really know. And the people who just didn't really have an idea that life could be better stayed in Africa. And that's why if you go to Africa today, you'll just see all the smart people leaving Africa. Like, if you think that Africa is so great, then why do the Africans with intelligence, ambition, and ability continuously leave Africa? Do you really think that you know Africa better than the Africans? Are you that arrogant? Maybe. But anyway, so Orientalism is this idea of, I think Africa's kind of like crabs in a bucket, but Orientalism is this idea that, like if I were to say to an Oriental person, if I don't go and do this, then it will never happen and the world will be a far worse place. Like right now, I am the first person to ever document surviving fatal insomnia. And I'm like, if I don't spread this message to the world, and if I don't do all this work on this and articulate exactly how I did it, articulate what I learned, then the world will never learn this information. It'll be far worse off. I told an Oriental person this, someone who was very Orientally minded. They would be like, no, someone else will discover it. You're being grandiose. Orientalism looks down on grandiosity. Just does. They don't have the idea of the hero's journey the way we do in the West. They have the idea of the journey to the West, which is the journey to individuation. And in that, they have the character of Monkey, who's learned every single kung fu move done by every single other person. It's very much this idea of copying what has already been done. Even their language, I believe, they just simplified kanji again. A conspiratorially, or I'd say someone with a brain that works would say, oh, they don't want to read their own history. They don't want their citizens reading their own history. Or subjects, more like. I think the idea of citizenship is very much a Western idea. They don't want their subjects to read their own history. Alternatively, you could also say that not being able to read your own history is simply a happy benefit of the necessary simplification, because they just keep adding characters. They code in English. It's just very interesting. The Oriental culture seems ideal for the incorporation of new information. They're great at incorporating already proven information, but they're very bad at encouraging individual thinking. They just are. They don't encourage creativity. They don't encourage individual thinking. They don't, it's a communist society. It's very much even Japan, Bushido, I read this Japanese book where they took a whole chapter to say that men over 60 should basically shut up and not talk because they're senile. And if they don't think they're senile, that's just proof that they're senile. It was just very, very demeaning. And I'm like, my grandfather's over 60 and I think he's a very intelligent man. What the hell are you talking about? And then I realized, I'm like, oh, it's a control mechanism because Moses was over 60 when he did his great stuff. So ultimately, if you want to control a population, simply demoralize the men over 60 to think that they have nothing worth saying. Then they won't say anything, and then 60 years of observations dies and nothing is innovated, and those who were in power remain in power. That's why the Chinese created the printing press and then used it to make fiat currency. Fiat currency even is an idea predicated on Orientalism because the reason the money isn't money, it's not a store of value, it's simply a medium of exchange, is because it assumes that exchange is constant. It even assumes we understand what exchange is. It assumes we understand what money is. It assumes all these things. And in assuming these things, it assumes its own understanding. And in assuming its own understanding, it assumes there's no more understanding to be gained. Which is the assumption that there's nothing new under the sun, everything's already been done, and if an idea was going to come about, someone else would have thought of it first, so why are you taking your own ideas seriously? Fascinating. That's also why they don't value freedom. Because why do you need to be free? To disrupt things? Disrupting annoying person? Oh, you're innovating. Innovation is just another word for annoyance because all there is the system and you're just disrupting the system. Shut up and get back in place. And this is also why they don't really feel the need to understand their own history. They don't really feel the need to not. They don't even feel the need to feel bad about genocides. Like, genocide is like the human norm. Okay, like human beings have been genociding each other forever. Where are the Denisovans? Where are the Neanderthals? Have you seen a Neanderthal recently? I haven't. So, where are they? Well, we genocided them. Why? People do, man. They're there and you want their land, and well, by golly, they're on their land and I want their land, and now they're dead and now I have their land, and if they're all dead, then they'll never take their land again. It'll be mine forever. It's very logical. Anyone who assumes that you can logically reason your way to anything approximating Christian morality is a fool or lying to you. Or they simply haven't thought about it for longer than 10 seconds, which means they're either a fool or interested in lying to you. So, basically, why oppose genocide? Why be for individual liberty? Why should the money have value and not just represent a medium of exchange? Well, I'll focus on the former right now. Why not genocide entire peoples and kill all of them until there's no one left? Well, because those people might have ideas that you wouldn't have. And if you don't have those ideas, then you might not be able to benefit from those ideas. You might not be able to prevent bad things from happening that you could have prevented if you had those ideas. It assumes that the individual has unique value that could be lost if killed. Like if I just go kill an entire group of people, I could lose something that could be gained. That's a Western belief. The divinity of the individual. It's a Western belief. Insofar as people are thinking with a Western mind. It's a Western belief. The East doesn't have that belief. It's why they're okay with genocide. Why did you kill all those people? To take their land. But now they're all dead. And they shall never come back and take their land again. It is all mine. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to talk like that weird scribe dude from Mulan. But, like, it's fascinating. Egypt was Oriental insofar as they didn't believe that the individual really mattered. Pharaoh was not, Ramesses was not the firstborn son of the previous Pharaoh. That's why he didn't die in the plague of the firstborn. That's why he let all the Hebrews go. He realized that his authority was built on a lie. Hey, babe. Oh, okay, I'll see you soon. I will. Or don't. They're just kind of playing on them right now. Mm-hmm. So it's just very interesting. I talk about Orientalism of mind. It's like if you're at a job and your job has no tolerance for the individual, like my wife just came in, interrupted me. Oh my God. But she's a individual made in the image of God who I have uniquely selected to be my partner, my one flesh in this life. And by golly, she might say something that'll really add to the value of this video. So the fact that I'm making the video that system does not supersede her individual divinity. Despite the fact that I will ask her not to interrupt my videos in the future for trivial comments, but she could have just texted me as she was leaving. But now, I've shared an interesting fact about marriage. And so she's actually given me something of great value. And all you watching can learn about marriage through this example. Isn't that fascinating? It is. It is fascinating. So, and in fact, I believe you've learned something about marriage you could not learn from any two other people. Because we are divine individuals. So if you're at a job and your job is like, just shut up and do the work, stop asking questions, stop being yourself, it's because they're okay with genocide, fundamentally. It's not how Henry Ford ran things, the guy who made the assembly line. You'd think he'd be a man who worshipped the process, but he actually worshipped the individual. He didn't believe in wasting individual potential. And that's what he designed his entire life around, making the individual as powerful as possible. By enabling him to rise as high as his ability allowed, by paying him as much as he could afford to pay him, by giving him access to power in the form of the gas internal combustion engine, freeing him from drudgery. Why should the individual be freed from drudgery? You're sinful creatures doomed to death. Toil away in the dirt till you decay and become part of it. You're made in the image of God, and death is an abomination.